Today we are going to talk about the rule of thirds and focal points. This is going to help us with our own setup for our still life drawing. So you've got your junk drawer drawing that you did yesterday. I'm just on the same paper. If you guys have to move to a different paper, that's fine. Sometimes we make our drawings a little bigger. No big deal. We can just flip to the next page if we need to. All right, so I am working on this same page, but I'm going to go down on my page, zoom in a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing. Today we're going to talk about rule of thirds and focal point. Okay. Rule of thirds is easier to describe if I show you a picture. So I've got this printout of the Great Wave that we talked about in our Art-Minded question this morning. And I've got the printout, and then I just drew lines over here like a grid where I've split it into 3 sections vertically and 3 horizontally. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that creates points of interest. So once I've split this into thirds, 2 different ways, this way and this way, I've got these points on here, 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 and here, where your lines intersect. And the rule goes, if you have your focal points or your points of interest along these intersections, that your artwork will be more interesting. So the Great Wave has the main wave up here along this intersection of points right here. So we feel like this has a lot of movement, right? The waves, we can see them moving, but this biggest wave right here is focused all of this attention on this part of our artwork. So it's right on this point. Okay, so I've split my whatever it is that I'm drawing up into thirds, vertically and horizontally, and then I'm trying to put the main focal point or the main point of interest along one of these dots, one of these places where my lines intersect. So for the definition of rule of thirds, we've got that it's about composition. Okay, we're going to split our artwork into thirds horizontally and vertically to create points of interest. The point of interest, then, the main point would be the focal point. So these would be our, here's our paper, here's our artwork. We're splitting it into thirds. And then these would be our points of interest in our composition, with one being the main focal point. Okay, so we want to choose a main focal point for our artwork. So I've got a printout of my setup of the still life that I wanted to make for today. Here's how I took a couple of different pictures. Here's the one that I chose. I've turned it into black and white, and I've got my 3 paint bottles and my paintbrush. I've got some shadowing going on. I do have a little bit of a glare because I set it up next to the whiteboard. I'm just going to go ahead and draw that, so I'm okay with that. And then I like how the shadows are cast onto this bottle here and then onto the table. So I want to just show you guys, demonstrate how I use the rule of thirds to set up my still life. So if I were to draw my grid lines onto the top of my photo, okay, I've split it up into 3 parts vertically, 1, 2, 3, 3 horizontally, 1, 2, 3, and now I've created these points of interest, with my tallest bottle being along this point. The cap is along this point. I mean, it's not exactly on it, but we're in the same area, so that's what our goal is, in the same area. Okay, so the main point of interest for mine is this, and then this area where I have the paintbrush next to the bottle. Okay, so my paintbrush comes over a little bit into this lower box, and that's okay. They are near the points of interest, okay? Because this cap is the darkest cap, the darkest point in the picture, and it is also the tallest bottle, this is what my eye is going to be drawn to first, and now the way that I've set this up made this the focal point of the drawing. So I've got different varying heights here to add some more interest. And I've also got kind of a flow in how that they're set up. So this one being taller, a little shorter, and the shortest in front. So just to do a couple little sketches, I'm going to take my photo, and you might take yours with your phone and then set your phone next to you, or you might have it set up on your computer screen and you're drawing from that, okay? So I'm going to set it to the side so I can have it for a reference, and then I'm just going to go ahead and make a little thumbnail sketches of my setup just to make sure that I like it and I'm on the right track. Okay, got my bottle sitting there. Got a bottle in front. And then I've got the other bottle back behind. So I'm layering them. And then I've got my paintbrush at a diagonal also to add more interest to my composition. So play around with composition, do your thumbnail sketches, play around with the rule of thirds, make sure that you have some points of interest, right? Your main items along a point of interest. Choose a focal point for your composition. So set up your things in different ways. If you have a phone, you have probably noticed if you go to the crop feature of your photos, it already puts this grid on there. It already puts your rule of third grid, because when people study photography, photographers use the rule of thirds a lot as well to help balance their composition and make more interesting compositions. All right, so do some sketches, do some thumbnail sketches, read over your instructions, and make sure that you are completely understanding of the assignment, and then get to drawing. Happy drawing. Bye, guys.